Uday Hindi is exploring an old building when he comes across a little girl staring at him from the corner of the room. The door furthest away from both of them shuts all by itself before he gets a chance to investigate. Despite this, Uday Hindi bravely pushes into the next room and discovers she is not a girl, but rather a creepy life-size doll. He roughly handles the doll from room to room and throws it on the floor, and that's when the doll decides it's had enough. I saw no strings when the doll moved, did you? Anyway, he is busy analyzing some strange and possibly demonic markings on the doll when suddenly this happens. Watch and try and translate what he says shortly before it goes all wrong. This part I feel like could have been from the way the doll was leaning on the wall before it fell, but the incident before that I feel could be quite real. A Nepali YouTube channel named Anish Gurung TV are not full-time ghost investigators, but they do have some paranormal investigation videos in abandoned places that get pretty creepy. An apparition seems to follow them on one of their urban explorations. This is when they first hear it. I want to say that this is the wind, but it's a calm night and this sounds way too much like a haunting moan. They reach the top and look around, feeling the presence of a ghost near them at all times. There's nowhere else left to explore, so they go back to the bottom and are about to leave when they hear it again twice. But I've saved the best paranormal evidence for last. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they capture these eyes and a sigh from behind. They didn't hear or see it at the time, but like I said in the beginning, they're not professional ghost investigators and missed some of the scariest things caught on camera. When you're in the middle of the woods, alone and defenseless, the last thing you want to hear is this. This horrifying sound, according to its uploader, is a cougar mating call, but what it sounds like is a woman shrieking for her life in fear or inexplicable horror, coupled with the moaning horn-like sound of an unknown creature. If you hadn't been told this was a cougar, how would you feel hearing this in the middle of the woods? I mean, maybe it's just more horrifying knowing that it is a cougar, as it might just go for your face. Redditor Eli uses Reddit shares his opinion saying, hearing this without thinking it's a cougar would honestly make me blank myself, with many in the thread agreeing with that summation. Others liken the sound to a woman having her life taken, while some think it sounds like a zombie breakout or a banshee. Further in the thread, however, Redditor the Lil Hedgehog claims that this sound is not in fact a cougar, but rather really is the sound of a woman shrieking from some police body cam footage, which has been dubbed into the video. Does anyone familiar with animal sounds know what a cougar shriek actually sounds like? Whether or not it's a cougar, I'd have to agree that if I heard this noise in the forest, I would surely panic. A paranormal investigator named Ankur Kashyap knows of a spooky house nearby that's as haunted as it is abandoned, or so the local legends say. He and his friends wait until after dark to explore the house to avoid getting caught and to increase their odds of getting a real ghost sighting on camera. They sneak over the gate and are too busy filming an introduction to notice their first paranormal encounter of the night in the form of a yellow ghost orb. Translate this part if you can, because I feel like whatever he says is what gets the attention of the spirit world.
So आज मैं आ रखा हूँ अपने दोस्त निखिल की कॉलोनी में और मैं आ रखा हूँ एक haunted house पे. ये वाला haunted house मेरे दोस्त निखिल की.
And look, Ankor even subconsciously leans away seconds before the orb touches him, almost like some part of him senses an unwanted presence is near. Meanwhile, a pair of oversized eyes of something, possibly a ghost in the window, appear at 2 minutes and 51 seconds as they head through a basement entrance. Down this creepy, narrow hallway is a hidden room that seems out of place and has no reason to be here. Something about the discovery freaks them out, and they decide not to see what other secret rooms this small space holds. Instead, they go straight to the center of the house and perform some kind of ghost summoning ceremony with candles. Towards the end of the ritual, they sense a spirit slip into the room with them, and a mysterious shadow moves over them, or perhaps even through them, while at the same time the camera refuses to go back into focus. It's creepy, but I don't know why the camera person doesn't look over to get the ghost on camera. He misses the moment, so it's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever, but the random moving shadow is pretty bizarre. And there's still one more odd encounter left. The group is soon surprised to find that the door refuses to budge, even though it's clearly unlocked. So either they are faking this movement, or else the haunted house is seriously refusing to let them leave, just when the ghost hunters are getting anxiety and really starting to panic. A ghost slams a door in the distance, something has left the building, and the place feels abandoned once more, at least for the time being. Their door is no longer locked, and so the perplexed paranormal explorers take the hint and quietly let themselves out. They could have been pretending that the door was locked, however the ghost orb, the moving shadow, and the ghost slamming a door is all evidence of the paranormal in my opinion. An invasion of the home is violating enough, but what happens when the invader is a squatter? Posted by Slav Gavin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This video was originally published to YouTube by Chino Sky Blue in April of 2017, who explains, "When I opened my front door, there was a girl squatting in my apartment.
I'm sorry,
I had been renting the apartment since March 1st, but had not been staying there. On Friday, April 14th, when I entered my apartment to retrieve some clothes, this was who was in my apartment." At the beginning of the video, the woman in question runs up to the man filming, saying she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be here. She asks if he's going to show anyone this video, and he responds that he's calling the authorities. As the man continues to film, the woman says she doesn't want to get caught up in this, whatever that means, and claims she doesn't remember the previous night and just woke up here. She asks the man not to hold her there, but the man insists that she stay to explain to the authorities what's going on. She starts to panic, but he says he's not pressing charges against her.
"I want you to stay here for the police when the police do call. But listen, I'm recording everything. I'm giving you my word that I just want you to explain it to the police, but I'm not trying to press no charges against you."
The only one he has a problem with is whoever has allowed her here. While the girl steps outside, claiming she doesn't know what's going on. That's where the video ends. We'd sure like an update on what happened after this, why this girl was squatting here, who let her in, and what happened as a result. But the channel hasn't posted any further videos. Does anyone have any idea what's going on here? Some in the comments think the man handled the situation well. Others suggest she's crazy and he should be more cautious with the situation. But YouTuber Macron435 perhaps has the most interesting theory. He writes, "Plot twist, that's her house." This creepy footage, shot in Portugal, of a strange beast that has some wondering if the Chupacabra is actually real, and if this footage is finally proof of its existence. What's the Chupacabra? According to Wikipedia, the Chupacabra is a legendary creature in the folklore of parts of the Americas, with its first purported sighting reported in Puerto Rico. Chupacabra literally translates to goat sucker in Spanish, so when this creature was caught hunkering through the desert, it certainly turned some heads. The clip only lasts a few seconds before the odd, mannish creature disappears behind a bush. Some see the video as definitive proof that the Chupacabra is real, while others question the video's authenticity. Still others believe it's not the Chupacabra. It's just your average everyday CGI. Whatever the case, it has been viewed thousands of times, so it certainly struck up interest. There's an older man who's looking out the window at Jacob Hessler and his friend, and it's freaking them out how he keeps leaving the spot and coming back to stare some more.
He's looking over. He's looking over. And now he walks away.
Some people suggest that the old man is simply looking at them because they were looking at him, and that they should just leave him alone. But this scenario still requires the old man to look out of his window in the middle of the night to notice they were there in the first place, which is odd. Maybe they were being loud or something, but the way they keep their voices low makes me think they were probably being quiet the whole time. So as it stands, this is a mysterious exchange without words and without explanation. A janitor is closing up a restaurant in San Francisco called The Chapel, which is said to be haunted by the ghost of a small girl. As soon as he is done locking the door, something tries to leave and then runs away. If she was afraid of getting locked in, why didn't she bang on the door to be let out? Also, how come she didn't say anything when all of the lights turned off? On the contrary, if this was instead a real person trying to sneak in, then she probably wouldn't immediately try to open the door because it could set off an alarm. I guess she could just be making sure the janitor really is leaving. But since this restaurant is said to be haunted by the ghost of a small girl, I believe this could be her. A man from an unknown country is checking an old apartment when he is confronted by the spirit of its former inhabitants. First, something whispers behind him in another language, possibly Arabic, followed by movement. Then they slam the door he just walked through and raise the lock in midair, something that a person would not be able to do just from banging really hard on the other side. Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here. Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear, and when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast. They sound heavy and are heading straight his way. A man believes the stairwell in his apartment is haunted by a creature that's not paranormal, but not human. He thinks he sees movement and says this is a still image. The image has gone viral, so I wanted to analyze the video.
What is that?
The video does not look nearly as convincing as the image, which is often the case because it is harder to animate than Photoshop. The figure shows a convincing lack of realistic movement as it dips back into the darkened doorway from where it came. So if you've ever seen this popular picture and were wondering what the accompanying video looked like, now you know. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015, the following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. In wandering around this abandoned building, strange apparitions appear everywhere. Published by Clip Hantu, this scary video is like the Where's Waldo of creepy figures. See if you can spot them all. Notice this thing on the ledge wasn't there a moment before. It looks like a head of hair or a wig. In the next room, you see a dark figure in the corner. As the camera swings back, it's disappeared, and with the flashlight turned on, you can see the room is completely empty. In a kitchen area, there's a pot on the counter at first. Now there seems to be a split in the clip, but the next time we see the same counter, the creepy object has replaced it. That thing looks like a shrunken head. Have these items been placed? Or is this the world's worst treasure hunt? The first and third items do look to me like they were placed. There is a cut in the video in each of these instances, but that shadow figure, that's harder to explain. Makes me think this place is truly haunted after all. If you hear something at 3 a.m., pretend like you didn't. Otherwise, this could be the end result.
Hey, here's something. Yeah, catch the one that is this. Come on. The wish to live this.
It looks like an animal outside at first, but it clearly isn't. I think it might be a skinwalker feasting on this person's pets. Is that what skinwalkers do? Better hold your pet close tonight.
And we are hurrying. Luckily, our house has sprinklers. When it was built, we've only been in this house for a week and a half. But we're getting everything that's important. And we're getting it out of here.
This scary GoPro video sounds like the final moments of a family fleeing in terror from their haunted home, but that's not what's happening. Midnight is when Tyson and Haley get a phone call that they have to evacuate fast, not from something paranormal, but a situation just as terrifying nonetheless. Flames are tearing up the mountainside and heading towards their home. Now they have to keep their oldest son occupied and unafraid while not panicking themselves, trying their best to navigate around closed roads and other hazards. You can tell the father wants to scream, but he doesn't want to freak their kids out, so this is how he talks.
That's not good at all, huh, buddy? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to go up there.
What will happen if the fire comes to our car?
We would turn around and drive away.
He's definitely a good father for not scaring his children, but the reality of the situation is, at least from what I can tell, that they are low on gas and stuck in traffic without much control over where they go next. Police are frantically trying to direct traffic and stay in communication with the fire department to guide cars away from the blazing inferno, and it isn't looking too good for them. Eventually, they break away and find a moment to collect themselves at the gas pump. As they watch the inferno in the distance, adrenaline finally wearing off, it occurs to them just how close to being goners they really were.
I've never had that feeling or adrenaline rush before. That was crazy.
I'm really glad this wasn't the family's final moments caught on GoPro, and hope they have some good memories ahead to help balance out this horrifying event. A YouTuber named Rata Negra Mago is positive that his house is haunted, and he claims to have the evidence to back it up. The kid's toy moves across the table and I don't see a string. Then a bottle falls off the table. There are no shadows coming from the other room when it happens. No one is around. And right before it happens, this strange traveling light appears. Looks paranormal to me. 4 days later, he catches this object moving all by itself. This one I find a little harder to believe because I feel like it's definitely in their grandma's line of sight. I mean, how could you miss a bright green reflective bag doing 360s for almost a full minute is beyond me. She must have been fully absorbed in her show. show. I have my doubts about this one, but at the same time I don't know how they're doing it, so maybe it's real. This final video taken almost a year later is perhaps the oddest of all. This hanging ornament begins moving in place with nothing to help get it started. Yes, it's by an open window, but there's no wind. The leaves on this plant don't move, and neither does this towel hanging over a chair. And it's not the air conditioner either, because this connected red string doesn't move at all. And if you're still not convinced, take a listen. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, this phantom light reflects across the stereo glass, though to be fair, it could just be a member of the family. This next video, made to raise awareness, is supposed to replicate voices in your head. Among the many visual and audio delusions is one in particular that really gets to me, a girl with no eyes who appears at random. The girl with no eyes is apparently very common and reported by many. The following scene is an example of how she usually comes to them, or rather for them.
She is scared.
Nowhere is safe from the girl with no eyes, because once she is in your mind, there's nowhere to hide. This is what it's supposed to be like when she finds you. No one knows why so many people have reported seeing the exact same figure. Maybe it's a subconscious manifestation of a common fear we all have, or maybe it's some type of possession that's driving people to madness. If this video is just a simulation, then I can only imagine how terrifying the real thing must be face to face. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Ding Dong Dingle Dude. This Redditor wrote, "My friend and I saw this weird floating structure in the sky. Has anyone else seen something like this before?" Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
What the Dude, that's just floating up there in this f***ing sky. What the f***? What the fuck? It f***ing flashed. Oh wait, what? Dude, are you recording?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Mountain Aviator 1 wrote, "That is the mysterious radio tower. It's obstructed by clouds. Well, the Triple B thinks it's a weather balloon. What do you think this object is? Let me know in the comments." According to this paranormal investigator, a genie cursed him in his own voice. Let's enter this haunted home. While speaking to the spirits of the place, he hears an EVP.
Buradaki varlık kendini belli etsin. Bir işaret versin. Buradaki yaşayan insanları kaçıran varlık kendini belli etsin.
When he walks into the kitchen, something disturbing happens. And then the spirit gets aggressive, but nothing is inside the room.
Bak eşya mısın? Hayır.
When he enters the bedroom, he sees it. But as he gets closer and closer, is this a magic trick? Well, it could be the genie himself performing a practical joke. I could also see how this could be faked, but then again, the knocking. Only a genie could disappear like this. A tech-savvy phantom is entering the chat. YouTuber Amitav Paranormal Tech YT went live on his YouTube channel, and his REM pod activated. So he set up a security camera in the room at night. This is what happened. An invisible entity enters. And not long after this happens, a light turns on and off. This footage is creepy for sure, but is it paranormal? Or can it be explained? I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Amitav captures next. This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
Yeah. With the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation dedicated to the idea that
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it go?
RI, Public Radio, Internet.
they walked in front of the car, right? Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.